Authority of Heads of State and Government directs immediate mobilization and deployment of a standby force to restore constitutional order in the Republic of Niger. Plus, government presents palliatives to indigents in Yobe State. These and more on Panorama today, reaching live from Abuja. I am Elizabeth Omori. We'll be right back. The ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government has directed the immediate mobilization and deployment of a standby force to restore constitutional order in the Republic of Niger. This is part of the resolutions of the second extraordinary summit of the ECOWAS Heads of State meeting under the chairmanship of President Bola Tinubu in Abuja. State House correspondent Musbah Wahab reports.
There is an unfinished business on the political situation in Niger. Leaders of the bloc are back in Abuja to pick up from where they left off. More so, that the security of the sub-region is also deeply involved. The resolutions from the first meeting here 10 days ago, including the one-week ultimatum, went unmet by the military junta. The emissaries for peace are back, but there appears to be more miseries. Against their demands, the ousted elected president, Mohamed Bazoum, is still in captivity and the military remain in power. There was the need for stock-taking.
It is essential to evaluate the effectiveness of our interventions and identify any gaps or challenges that may have hindered progress.
After hours of deliberations, ECOWAS appears not tired of exploring more diplomatic means, but this time with more vigor.
That no option is taken off the table, including the use of force as a last resort.
Direct the Committee of the Chief of Defense Staff to activate the ECOWAS standby force with all its elements immediately. Order the deployment of the ECOWAS standby force to restore constitutional order in the Republic of Niger.
Keeping President Bazoum as a hostage, I personally consider this as a terrorist act, and we cannot let this continue. We have to act.
While seeking the support of all partner countries and institutions, including the United Nations and African Union, it also clarifies that the resolutions are supported by all member states and not a case of one country against another. From the State House, Musbah Wahab, NTA News.
And following a decree announced on national TV on Thursday, military leaders in Niger who seized power in Akko last month have formed a new government. The decree promulgates Prime Minister Ali Mohamed Lamine Zain will lead the 21-member government with generals from the new military governing council heading the defense and interior ministries. Still on the Niger coup, the 2023 African Bar Association has condemned the removal of the constitutional democracy in the Republic of Niger. This was part of resolutions of the Continental Bar in Pretoria, South Africa. Daily Atsumbi of our Judiciary Desk reports.
After the rejection of all attempts to reinstall democratically elected President Mohamed Bazoum, the 21-member cabinet will be headed by 50-year-old Prime Minister Ali Mohamed Lamine Zain, who previously served as finance minister under the administration of former President Mamadou Tanja. 3 of the generals who helped in the July 26 removal of President Mohamed Bazoum were named Ministers of Defense, Interior and Sports in the new government. ECOWAS had given the junta a 7-day ultimatum to reinstate hosted Bazoum or risk interventions of whatever form. The military ruler declined meeting with a delegation raised by ECOWAS to broker peace.
Despite the disapproval of the people of Niger and of ECOWAS of any military intervention in Niger,
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres also demanded the immediate and unconditional release of Niger's president, Mohamed Bazoum, as the global body suspended its humanitarian operations in that country. Security and policy analysts are advocating diplomatic resolution to the crisis, as sanctions, they said, will only harm the situation, which is still fragile. Adebola Brooksland
And that was Adebola Brooksland's report on ECOWAS' position on the crisis in Niger. And back to Dele Atumbi's report, the 2023 African Bar Association has also condemned the removal of the constitutional democracy in Niger. That report is now ready.
A look at the observance of rule of law on the continent of Africa. Participants condemned the coup in Niger Republic and demanded immediate restoration of constitutional democracy. The African Bar Association Conference frowned at the ousting of democratically elected governments on the continent.
So I thank ECOWAS for the response. I do not support military intervention. The African Bar has made it clear today that it wants diplomacy to succeed and it wants the military to hand over, to leave the seat of government as quickly as possible and hand over to the democratically elected government. In short, our demand here today is that civilian rule be restored immediately.
The purported clampdown on the opposition leaders in Senegal also attracted the attention of the African Bar Association's conference. Participants frowned at the alleged disregard to the fundamental rights of the people. The Continental Bar cautioned that respect for the rule of law is the foundation of constitutional democracy.
As for Senegal, we have made it clear here too, the decision was reached here, that the Senegalese government should rethink its illegal actions.
The Continental Bar equally expressed its displeasure over the disobedience of court orders by government institutions. The bar identified the rule of law as the solution to the challenges being faced by the African continent. From Pretoria, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Away from Niger crisis, Chairman of the Police Service Commission, Dr. Solomon Arase, says Nigeria needs responsible police force that will respect human rights of the citizens. This was when delegations from the United States of America and the United Kingdom visited the Commission in Abuja. In a statement, Arase notes that the Commission decided to set up the compliance and monitoring units in the police force to ensure that the rights of citizens are protected and unprofessional police officers are sanctioned for misconduct. He confirmed that the Commission and the police are united in the fight to stamp out human rights abuses in the country. He, however, frowned at pre-trial detentions by the police, noting that the Commission will no longer tolerate detentions contrary to the provisions of the law. Meanwhile, leader of the United States delegation said that in Nigeria to assist in strengthening the rule of law, and the PSC is a key stakeholder in the project. Similarly, Mr. Grimson of the National Crime Agency of the British High Commission promised to partner the Commission in training of personnel of the Nigeria Police Force. Still on security, the Nigerian Army is ready to absorb medical doctors abroad who are returning to the country in its hospitals. Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tawarit Lagbaja gave the assurance when the management of Nigerians in the Diaspora Commission NITCOM visited the Army headquarters, Abuja. Lieutenant General Lagbaja noted that the Army will collaborate with NITCOM's advocacy of bringing back home the best brains from the diaspora to help develop the health sector in the country.
Of the Naval Staff Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala said that Imo State have been strategic in the support of the Navy in achieving her maritime security objectives, noting that part of the reason for the visit was to inform the governor that the hydrographic survey of Uguta Lake to Orashi River to the Atlantic Ocean is ready for presentation to him.
We use this opportunity also to assure the governor that in line with our statutory responsibility of ensuring the security of the maritime domain, as well as preserving the nation's territorial integrity, we are ever ready to collaborate with the state government in the achievement of these goals.
In his response, Governor Hope Uzodinma described the visit of the nation's #1 naval officer as another assurance and hoped that the security situation in Imo State will be further improved and strengthened. The Chief of Naval Staff was accompanied on the visit by principal officers of the Navy, the Commander 34 Artillery Brigade Obinze, and the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Imo State. In Owerri, I am Faith Iguilo, NTA.
That was Faith Iguilo's report on the Chief of Naval Staff's visit to Governor Hope Uzodinma on security. Moving on, Sultan of Sokoto Mohammed Saad Abubakar has stressed the need for government to provide the Nigerian Immigration Service with state-of-the-art equipment to enable them carry out their duties effectively. He was speaking while receiving Acting Comptroller of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Mrs. Caroline Adepoju, on courtesy call at his palace. Dalhatu Abdullahi reports.
Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar underscored the contribution of Nigerian Immigration Service to the country's security. He urged the men of the service to continue to do their job with all sincerity. He said men of the service are supposed to be adequately equipped with state-of-art equipment so that they can defend themselves against bandits and other criminals. Sultan condoled with the management of the Nigerian Immigration Service over the recent killing of their 2 personnel by bandits at Mamansuka village area of Godaba local government in Sokoto State.
We're seeing around the world where they have scanners. Even when you're approaching any checkpoint, you're fighting to those scanners, you might not even know. They are carrying weapons to be seen by those on duty who will be monitoring all movements of vehicles.
Acting Comptroller of Nigerian Immigration Service, Mrs. Depoju, said she is in Sokoto to condole with the families of the 2 men of the service who were killed at Mamansoka village area of Sokoto State by bandits. She described as unfortunate the way the 2 men lost their lives in the line of duty while others sustained injuries. The acting comptroller said she was also at Ilela local government to ascertain the border closure in respect of ECOWAS directives.
We will make sure that we provide more men and more arms and ammunition so that these people can defend themselves. And the welfare of the personnel is paramount to us.
In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And the Council of Imams and Ulamas in Kaduna State has urged the Senate to confirm the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, as Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to help the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu succeed in delivering its campaign promises to Nigerians. Muhammad Umar Ajingi reports that the council stated this at a press briefing in Kaduna.
Religious leaders from different organizations, including the Muslim Link for Accountability and Saruddin Society, converged to express their dissatisfaction over the inability of the Senate to confirm El-Rufai, who they said is one of the most competent and loyal party member that deserves to join President Tinubu's cabinet, considering his wealth of experience and contributions to the success of his election as the president of Nigeria.
We are concerned that some members are so jittery and unnecessarily agitated over El-Rufai's appointment just because they know very well that he has what it takes to deliver. It has thus become imperative to say that El-Rufai's nomination and appearance at the floor of the Senate was so overwhelming. For the avoidance of doubt, His Excellency Malam Nasiru Ahmed El-Rufai is a man of strong conviction of what he believes and very principled to a fault.
The deputy chairman of the council, Muhammad Qasim, says the former governor has remained a dedicated member of the APC for years, urging the leadership of the party and other stakeholders to intervene for the Senate to quickly clear Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai as a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria representing Kaduna State. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
You're watching Panorama, reaching you live from Abuja, the nation's capital. Let's take a breakdown. More reports ahead when we return.
The Council of Our Fathers.
I will urge and
advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Thanks for staying with us. The leadership of the 10th Assembly of the House of Representatives has assured that the tripartite relationship that existed between the executive, Parliament and the governing All Progressives Congress will be renewed and strengthened. Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives Benjamin Kalu, after a closed-door engagement with the National Chairman of APC, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, at the party secretariat in Abuja, says this is necessary towards advancing the national objectives as set out by the political party in its manifesto.
I took the time to thank him and Mr. President for finding a lot of young people worthy to be in government now as ministers, and also women inclusion that have been preached over and over again. It was part of the constitutional review that went to the former president. It was not assented to. We're hoping that his presidency will be looking into that as I lead the Parliament in the House of Representatives on constitutional review. It will be one of the issues we'll be representing to the President, and the need to include more women.
Ali Guanara reports that the Deputy Speaker also shows that negotiations are ongoing to fill vacant positions into the National Working Committee from Abia State. Meanwhile, a coalition of Tinubu support group has expressed confidence in the leadership of the national chairman of the APC, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, describing him as a seasoned politician. Convener and Global Director General of the coalition, Dwayne Johnson, gave the vote of confidence at a press briefing in Abuja.
Governor Ganduje emergence marks the dawn of a new era for the progressive family in Nigeria. The All Progressive Congress, under the visionary leadership of Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje OFR, stand poised to embark on transformative journey that will propel our nation towards a brighter and more prosperous future.
Appealed to Nigerians to be patient with policies of the federal government, especially on the issue of fuel subsidy removal, as this will in the long run create more employment opportunities for the youth and infrastructural development in the country. Now, ahead of the November 11 governorship election in Bayelsa State, preparations are heightened to ensure free and successful election in the state. To this end, the National Orientation Agency has flagged off a sensitization and engagement of stakeholders program towards the successful conduct of the governorship election. Charity James completes the story.
Bayelsa is one of the states where governorship elections was not held during the 2023 general elections in the country. This was due to the state's peculiarity in her democratic journey and other variables. With barely 3 months to the election, preparations from various sectors to ensure successful conduct of governorship elections in Bayelsa State is in top gear. The National Orientation Agency, in line with its mandate, is not left out, as the agency flags off a sensitization program to enlighten stakeholders and address observation and challenges from the 2023 general elections.
As we go there, you yourself will not make trouble in the process of voting.
Home to tell my people that they should feel free, that should come out, they will be each free, because there are a lot of chief security officers that are on ground.
I would try to abstain from
the electoral offences.
Issues of concern ranging from voter education, poor understanding of electoral acts, electoral violence, and low turnout of voters were deliberated upon.
We find the Bayelsa election particularly interesting because we must strengthen our structures to reach all the cliques and communities where the rains and floods may have made access very difficult.
We are now going to do a complete sensitization involving our COMOs, community mobilization officers, involving them.
The need to take precaution during campaigns, create more awareness in rural communities, give women and people living with disabilities their rightful place during the elections were other points of emphasis.
Every man has to be on deck for this. It's not just INEC alone. We can only drive about 40% of the process. 60% relies on the stakeholders. The politicians themselves are involved.
We have never disappointed. It is the men that have been disappointing us. Am I correct? It is the men that have been disappointing us.
The event also featured interactive sessions where participants were provided opportunity for questions and answers. In Yenegua, Charity James, NTA News.
To alleviate hardships associated with the fuel subsidy removal on the citizens, Yobe State government has flagged off the distribution of palliatives to 3,000 vulnerable households in Yobe East Senatorial District. Yunusa Suleiman reports that the initiative is targeting 400,000 persons in the 3 senatorial districts of the state. This is in addition to 10,000 bags of assorted rice procured for distribution to indigents in the state.
The inauguration of the Yobe State Committee on Palliatives by Governor Mai Mala Buni, the committee has set wheels on motion where it flags up the distribution of palliatives to vulnerable members of the society. In this phase, 3,000 vulnerable households are being targeted to benefit from this gesture. The 3,000 beneficiaries were carefully selected from Damaturu, one out of the 7 local government areas that formed Yobe East Zone, after meeting up with the committee's criteria.
It will really assist us as a student because people are really suffering and there's hunger in the town, so at least this will help a lot.
We are really thank the effort of Yobe State government for this kind of palliatives given to us.
Governor Mai Mala Buni, who is the committee's chairman, represented, says the target is to reach out to 80,000 vulnerable households across 14,500 communities in the state.
So we are urging on people to ensure the food items were being utilized in their homes.
We created a call-free line for complaint mechanism, and we have the numbers of beneficiaries. We'll take a random sample and ask them if they received the item, what is the value chain and how they use it. And this thing will continue, and our complaint system is open.
For Yobe South and North zones, the distribution exercise is expected to take place in Damagum and Jakusko towns. In Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA.
And next in our lineup is Sports Update.
Quarter-final actions at the ongoing Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand take center stage Friday and Saturday. Spain beat Netherlands 2-1 Friday to book a semi-final ticket. In Saturday fixtures, after a 4-2 on penalties win over Nigeria, European champions and 6-time quarter-finalists, England will take on quarter-finalist debutant Colombia, who defeated Jamaica via long goal. Same day, co-host Australia will trade tackles with France. Back home in Nigeria, 3 more teams on Thursday joined Sokoto United to keep their status in the Nigerian National League. At the end of the relegation playoffs in Kano, Adamawa United claimed the second ticket from the Northern Conference after pipping Sokoto United via long goal to garner 5 points. Sokoto, before the last games, clinched the first ticket after 2 games with 6 points. In the Southern Conference, Ikorodu City and Smart City, both representing Lagos, kept their status intact. In handball, Nigerians under 18 girls are through to the final of the ongoing IHF Women's Trophy African Continental Phase in Côte d'Ivoire, slated for this Saturday. The Nigerian side qualified after defeating Rwanda 38-30. On a sad note, Nigeria's first professional golfer Patrick Okpomo is dead. He died after a brief illness in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, at the age of 75. popularly referred to as 001, Patrick was among the first young Nigerian golfers who traveled to United Kingdom for professional training. He and 3 other young Nigerians formed the Professional Golfers Association, PGA of Nigeria, in 1969. With sponsor update, Olumide Guntola, NTA News.
And that's Panorama this afternoon. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Good afternoon.